While this might be a common sight for much of the northern section of CPKC's massive rail network, this is a pretty rare sight for the North Louisiana town of Ruston. Mid-January of 2024 would find a massive winter storm hitting Louisiana, giving it a nice and slippery coat of white ice on the ground. Winter photography in Louisiana isn't exactly a common occurrence, so I would carefully traverse the iced-up roads in hopes of getting some footage of the rail action. While the majority of Ruston is shut down due to the lack of equipment to fight the ice, the railway will carry on business as usual. Overlooking the Vicksburg subdivision from the Bonner Street overpass, we managed to capture daily westbound I-167, which is a half-manifest, half-intermodal originating from Norfolk Southern in Atlanta, Georgia. A pair of black and white NS motors and a Southern Bell motor in third leads the westbound. The leader, NS 4717, is one of the latest AC 4400 C6M rebuilds to be entered into service. These were originally built as the Dash 9s. The 167 would be meeting in Eastbound about 9 miles away at the siding in Simsboro. It wouldn't be a terribly long wait before an eastbound clear indication was given at Control Point Ruston. This is Mississippi-bound Manifest M266. Canadian Pacific Road engines are doing all the work, but in tow is a KCS Jeep, and also an eye-catcher is fourth, KCS 6092, an EMD SD40-3, proudly still wearing the yellow hazard striping and the battleship gray paint. It's bound for Jackson, Mississippi, where it will then head south on the Canadian National Main Line to be delivered to the isolated CPKC Gulfport subdivision to continue work on the heavily sought-after Hattiesburg turn job. To see 6092 in action, check out my Magnolia State Railroading special that was posted about 8 months ago. Days later, the ice would eventually melt, but the cold temperatures of winter would stay a bit longer. We found ourselves along the 1 mile long siding in Arcadia to catch another M266 a few weeks later. I mentioned earlier that this train is Mississippi bound, and its specific terminating point is Artesia. We shift over to the next town to the west, in Gibsland, where something always seems to be happening. Sure enough, within minutes of arrival, we catch coast-to-coast hotshot Z train I-968 coming from California bound for Atlanta. UP currently utilizes the CPKC main as a connection to the Norfolk Southern to the east. On February 10th, we were making our way home from a very challenging chase of the business train on the Beaumont subdivision when the click of the scanner gained our attention. We decided to make a quick pit stop and wait at the Bayou Dorcheat Trestle Bridge, and after only minutes, the M267 raced over the bayou with a gray Jeep being sent to Shreveport for routine inspection. M267 is the counterpart to the eastbound M266 that you've already seen multiple times in this video so far. The following Saturday would be a very busy day for the Speedway. We begin east of Monroe at milepost 64 on Millhaven Road, with I-168 making way for Atlanta from Wiley, Texas, which is just outside of Dallas. Right on the 168's tail was the UP hotshot again, I-968. We decided to keep working our way east, and by the time we got to Holly Ridge, dispatch mentioned a trio of westbounds on the way, all back to back. The first being the train that we were going out for to begin with. Before reaching the former KCS while it was still on NS, this train was hauling 5 Florida East Coast GEVOs bound for Mexico. We were hoping that they would stay on this train, but NS would take them off beforehand and send them down to New Orleans to hand off to UP. From there, the FEC motors would traverse to El Paso and eventually cross into Mexico. Even without the FEC motors, we were still satisfied with one of the later runs of the KCS Aces leading the charge. We would opt to go for the second westbound and Delhi by the towering silos. This was a shorter than average M267 with yet another gray ghost in the consist. This is a KCS de Mexico AC44. These are the last of the road engines on the roster that still wear the gray. The third and final westbound was closer than anticipated, and we barely caught him at B Bayou, and I mean barely. This was 2I-167, which signifies that this is an extra 167 for the day, and wouldn't you know it, Norfolk Southern number 1066, the New York Central Heritage Unit, was second. This day would indeed be a day of interesting trailing motors, and this isn't even the last one. We worked our way back to the Monroe area just in time to catch a local job coming out of the spur track that runs to the industrial complex that contains massive facilities such as Georgia Pacific and Graphic Packaging. KCS 2812 has just received permission to swing back onto the main line and make way for the yard. There's an impressive variety of different product that is hauled in and out of this branch, but the standout to me is the intermodal containers. West Monroe does in fact have a small facility that handles intermodal traffic. Typically, this local brings it to the yard, and from there a road train manifest will pick up the intermodal and send it wherever it needs to go. With the local clear of the main, we hop across the Washita River into downtown Monroe. The headlight of I-166 has come into view, and wouldn't you know it, another trailing motor has some interest. This time, a Wells Fargo rail leased SD70 Mack was trailing. It wasn't hard to tell that before WFRX acquired the motor, that it was a former workhorse for the BNSF. For the last train of the day, we decided to move closer to the riverfront, and we catch the M266 crossing over the Ouachita River. We're going to end this video right where we started it in Ruston. Well after sunset, I saw a heads up for a westbound loaded military train bound for Fort Johnson en route. Not sure where it originated from other than somewhere along the CSX system, but if someone does know, please let me know down in the comments. I'll let you watch the rest of the military loads, but instead of that, this video is coming to an end. Winter was pretty good to us despite the ice storm, and most of the later half of February and early March has given us some very comfortable temperatures in the 60s and 70s. That's typically just how it is in Louisiana. We get a few weeks of very cold temperatures that feel like winter, then it warms up right again. Well, I hope you enjoyed yet another compilation of action on my home rails. If you did, please be sure to leave a like down below and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Until the next time, my friends, I'll be seeing you somewhere out there along the rails, and as always, thanks for watching.